when they told us we were all going to be talking, I was like, man, I hope they don't have me talk after him. He's really good at talking. But Maddie May, she was the first grandkid of any of her grandparents. She was Karen and my only child that we ever had, and so she got, everything she ever did was such a big deal, and she was just such a happy, such a great kid, such a perfect little baby, and so just smart and funny and beautiful. She was just nice to everybody, and when I would meet people, ever since she was first born, when I meet people, they say, tell me about yourself, or you're just trying to get to know someone. The first thing I'd say is, well, I have this daughter, and she's here's a picture of her. She's on the dean's list at college, and she works hard, and she has all these great friends in the sorority, and she's, I just would tell them all about Maddie. I wouldn't even, they walk away from it like, I don't know anything about him. We know all about his little girl, though, and yeah, we love going to go see live music. That's always been my favorite thing to do, and so I started taking her to concerts when she was younger, and we saw some really good shows together. I'd take her and her friends sometimes. She was all upset when Mac Miller was going to come, and she couldn't get tickets, and it was all sold out, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I entered all these radio station contests, and like the night before it happened, I won 4 tickets and got to bring her and her friends, and they were meet and greet tickets. We got to go and meet them after the show, and that was the happiest memory I could think of that we shared together, was that. And but she kept on going to shows. They'd go to Watershed, her and her friends, and she traveled to Canada to go to a music festival. She loved going to music like I did, and she always worked hard. She started getting jobs when she was just like barely even a teenager. Her mom had to fire her whole housekeeping staff of the hotel that she managed, and so Maddie and her friends stepped up, and the next day they were all in there cleaning rooms, which is a hard job. I did that for like 2 days. I was like, nope. And but those little girls were in there cleaning all summer long, cleaning all the rooms, and from then on, she always had a job. Like not all of that age of kids are all out there working all the time, but she sure was. She'd always work hard and make her own money and buy her own cars and pay for her own gas, and and I wanted to, when I was up here, I wanted to make sure and mention Jake. She got to have this, is really her only real big relationship she had in her life was with Jake, who is such a great guy, and I'm so glad that she got to just have at least a little taste of what it's like to be in love with someone. And he's just a really great guy, and they treated each other the way you're supposed to. And I was really proud to just call him my daughter's boyfriend, and maybe someday maybe they would have gotten married, It seemed like it, at least. But I just want to thank, like they said, thank all the people working on trying to figure this out, and it really means a lot. All the love and support that everyone out there has shown through this has just been amazing. I've heard from people I haven't thought about or heard from in 30 years, and you see how good people can be when something terrible happens. They really make you feel loved and supported when it's important. But anyway, thanks for being here, and that's all.
Xana Kernodle's mom, Kara Denise Northington, is on the phone with me now. Kara, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Can I just ask you off the bat how you are getting by in this terribly sorrowful time?
Not very easily, not good. I mean, I don't know what to say to that.
I can't even imagine the pain that you and your family are going through. Have the police been helpful to you, Kara, to understand some of the things they can and can't say?
Honestly, no. Honestly, no. They haven't said anything. I learn more on the news and on TV than they have said to me.
Have you had a chance to talk with some of the other parents of the other 3 kids who were there that night and share information amongst yourselves?
Not really, honestly. I've just been dealing with my family, and we've just been absorbing this shock.
Can you tell me, Kara, what you do know about this terrible night?
Well, what I do know is not nearly enough. We need more answers. There is so much more that can be done that has not been done. And I just know that there's GPS, NASA, to find out who went into that home that night. I know that. Why hasn't that been looked into? Why hasn't that been accessed?
Kara, can I ask you that there is a mysterious sort of 4-hour and 45-minute block of time that's unaccounted for by the police timeline. The police say that your daughter Xana and her boyfriend Ethan were at the Sigma Chi house from 8 until 9 p.m., but then they don't have any information on where they were from 9 p.m. till 1:45 a.m. Do you know anything about that from either your information from the police or Ethan's family or anybody?
I may be candid in saying this, but I think that they were at a bar.
And where do you get that information from? Did someone tell you that they'd gone from the Sigma Chi house to a bar before they ended up home?
That's what their father conveyed to me, that he thought that they were at the bar that night. So, yeah, I mean, that's what college kids do on the weekends. So.
But you don't know for sure that they left the Sigma Chi house, went to a bar?
Okay. I don't know for sure, absolutely not.
And have the police asked you any questions about where Xana might have been, or if she texted you, or if she had, if she'd communicated with any family members in that period of time?
No answers whatsoever. Really. I asked the investigators when they come and spoke to me. They were not able to offer me any answers. None.
Can I ask you, Xana's sister Jasmine has put such a beautiful tribute to Xana on her Instagram. And I wonder if she has any additional information, just perhaps from being able to access her sister's social media or her phone. Has Jasmine been able to ascertain any other details of what happened that night, or where Xana and Ethan were that night?
No, I'm not going to speak for Jasmine. You would have to ask her that yourself. And she says she's going through it right now without her sister. And I'm sure if she had any answers or any information, she's already conveyed that to the investigators.
May I ask you if you can confirm that Xana's room was on the 2nd floor of the house?
Yes, I can confirm that. And,
and was it on... Sorry?
I just had a question about the other 2 roommates who were there on the 1st floor. And I just wonder, wasn't something heard, or you know, the surviving roommates that were there, they had to have heard something. They had to have, the dog, something.
I can help you with that somewhat. There is information from a prior tenant who lived on the first floor, who said when he lived there in 2019, he moved out. He said he could never hear anything on the second or third floor. If the television was playing very loudly on the second floor, he might hear it from the first floor. And I don't know if that helps you to understand.
The dog heard it, and the dog had to have been barking. You know,
I have information there as well. I've got information there as well. Our Brian Enton spoke with the parents of Kaylee Gonzalez, and they have actually referred to that. And Brian's going to play that interview in a moment. But Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen on that first floor may not have been able to hear anything, according to the prior tenant, who said it was extremely difficult to hear because of the construction of that house. But I do want to ask you, if I can, Kara, was your daughter Xana's room on the right side of the house if you're looking from the parking lot, or on the left side across from the kitchen?
I can't answer that. I can't
But
answer
you do
that
know she was on the...
I never went there yet, so I don't know.
But you know she was on the second floor. Do you know if she looked out the front of the house or the back of the house?
I believe in the front, but I can't confirm. Like I said, I haven't been down to visit it yet. So I tried to go last month, but she was in class while I was down there. So.
Okay, our viewers are looking at the front of the house right now, and the window that I'm referring to is on the second story in the front of the house. And that's where we are, you know, triangulating that perhaps that's where Xana and Ethan were that night. I do want to ask you if you know whether or not Xana had a lock on her bedroom door.
I believe she did, yes.
Do you know if it was a lock that was a code that you would punch in on the bedroom door? The prior tenant who used to live there said that every one of the doors in that home, all 6 bedrooms, were rented separately like apartments, and they all had coded locks. But lots of social media pictures have shown at least one of the locks on the door across from the kitchen on the second floor. It didn't appear to have a coded lock. But do you think that Xana's room had a coded lock?
I believe it did. Her father mentioned to me that he had just went and replaced the lock the weekend before.
You said her father mentioned to you that they had replaced the lock?
Yes, that he had fixed it or something. But yeah, he said that he had fixed it the week before, just to make sure.
The week before.
Yeah.
So then that's the lock on her own bedroom door, not the lock to the outside of the house. That's her own bedroom door's lock?
In the main lock he was referring to. I'm not sure, just from him telling me that when we were speaking. So.
But you're talking about Jeff, right? Jeff Kernodle, Xana's dad?
Yeah. Absolutely, yes.
And he had been there just a couple weeks before working on a lock, but you're not sure what door.
Just the weekend before, and he went to meet Ethan's parents, and went to check on Xana, and it was Dad Week at WSU for Jasmine, so he was over there, and they're pretty close schools. Pullman and Moscow are fairly short distance away from each other.
Did Xana's car have Arizona plates?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
And she used to live in Arizona, though, right?
I believe she got the car in Arizona, so that's highly likely, yes.
Do you know what kind of car she was driving?
I don't.
And you mentioned about the roommates, the surviving roommates. Have you had any opportunity to contact them? Do you or Jeff or Xana's sister, Jasmine, do you have their contact information? Are you able to call them to talk to them?
Jasmine and Jeff are in contact with them, yes. They were all at the memorial today, and yeah.
And what did those girls, Bethany and Dylan, say to Xana's dad and her sister about that morning when they woke up and came upstairs? What did they tell Jeff and Jasmine?
I don't know. You would have to ask them that. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I'm sorry.
Do you know, Kara, if Dylan and Bethany came upstairs and were trying to wake Xana? Because they were trying to wake one of their roommates. Do you know if it was your daughter they were trying to wake?
I don't have that answer either. I'm sorry.
It's okay. And did they say that they could not get beyond a locked door, and that's why they had no idea what was on the other side of the bedroom door and called in an unconscious person?
I believe that's right.
What do you know about that?
That they called in an unconscious person. I know that. But beyond that, I don't know.
So it's hard for you to understand as well why, if there was such a terrible crime that had been committed, the roommates might not have seen the evidence of that crime.
Absolutely, yes.
Have they told you at all, Kara, when you can retrieve your daughter's things from that house?
Not yet, no.
I want to ask you, if you can, for us, Kara, about Xana. What would you like people to know about your daughter? We've seen pictures and we've seen social media, but you know her heart. What would you like everyone to know about her?
Xana, if you knew Xana, you knew what a light she was to everybody she came across. She was just such a positive influence on everybody around her. I honestly, and I'm not saying this because I'm her mother and biased, it's just the truth. There's nothing negative you could say about her. She was just such a good soul. And she cared. She deeply cared about her friends and her family. And she would never hurt anybody. I don't understand who would want to do anything to any of these kids. They were all great, great kids, and they were all good, good friends, lifelong friends, even, aside from Ethan. And Ethan was such a great kid, too. No parent should ever go through this. These kids were good kids. I don't understand.
Have you had a chance?
Who would want to do this.
Have you had a chance to speak with Ethan's parents?
No, not yet.
Are you going to have a chance to speak with them?
I'm sure I will, yes.
I do have another question, and that is what we are all trying to figure out, what the police mean when they say they believe this was a targeted attack. They've gone back and forth about whether it was the kids inside the house or the house, and now they've really rested on the statement that they believe it's a targeted attack. They don't know if it's the kids or the home itself that was targeted. But do you have any thoughts at all about why that house might be targeted, or why any of the 5 roommates might be targeted?
I do not think it was the house that was targeted. I believe wholeheartedly that it was those kids who were targeted. They weren't just acquaintances. These kids were like best friends. They practically were family. These kids were tight-knit. They were good friends. They were like family. They were around each other constantly. They did everything together. How could it not be a planned thing? How could it not have been targeted? For all 4 of them.
Do you know, Kara, do you know anything about Kaylee moving out? Do you know if she had already moved out of the house when this happened, or was she in the process of moving out because she was graduating in the new year?
Again, that's not a question for me. You may ask her family that. I'm not going to speak for her. I'm sorry.
I think the reason I ask is because I'm just wondering if her room was vacant, if the furniture was gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Right. Do you also know anything about, did Xana ever say anything about problems at the campus, maybe talk of a stalker. There's been talk that maybe Kaylee had a stalker. Her dad said that Kaylee had told him that she had a stalker or a problem with a stalker. The police haven't been able to run anything down, but did Xana ever say anything?
Kaylee was an absolute beautiful, beautiful girl. It wouldn't surprise me if all of these beautiful kids that we lost had stalkers, okay? They were all like rock stars on Instagram and all the social media. They're vibrant, outgoing kids. You can hardly be on social media anymore without gaining some kind of weird stalker. So that wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that that's what it was, though. I will be honest with you. I think it's closer than that. I think it's deeper than that. I think I think they have information that they're not giving us, and it's real fishy. That's what I will say.
When you say you think it goes deeper than that, what do you mean?
I mean, I think it was somebody closer than a stalker, and I don't know who. I'm not gonna specify anything like that. I'm just going to say I think that it was somebody, you know, and I think possibly they may have trusted. That's the only thing I can think of, because how could something like this happen so quickly, so quietly, so without any answer, unless it was somebody super close to them. You know what I mean?
Do you think the person who did this had been in that house before?
I think they knew them. I think they may have even been friends with them. I think it had to have been somebody close to them to have been able to get away with it like this, just without, you know, it just doesn't make sense. None of this makes any sense. It had to have been somebody they trusted that was, you know what I mean? I mean, somebody who knew the house well, somebody who knew them well.
Kara, I cannot tell you how...
So quickly, without a trace.
I can't tell you just how sorry I am for what you're going through, and the parents of the other kids. I said it before, I'll say it again, it's unimaginable. Just know that there are hundreds of thousands of people across this country tonight who are feeling for you as well. You know, in spirit, you are not alone. There are a lot of people who care deeply for you and your family, and they want justice for your daughter.
I know, and I thank everyone so much for that. Xana's death will not be in vain. We are going to find who did this. I will not take my final breath until this person is found and brought to justice for these kids, not just my daughter, but these kids and their families and their friends. We all deserve answers, and the person needs to be brought to justice.
I wish you and your family peace of mind, and I hope that we can, you know, bring you answers soon. Kara, thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for telling us your story tonight. And we'll continue to highlight Xana's story as well and her beautiful life, as you mentioned. It's very evident on Instagram and social media just how vibrant she was and how beautiful she was. And she made a mark on this world while she was here. Thank you so much, Kara, for being with us tonight.
Can I say one last thing?
Yes.
There is someone out there, I know there is, that has answers. Please, we all beg you, please, don't be afraid. Please, just tell somebody. We deserve that much, please.
I think you're absolutely right. Someone out there knows something, and it behooves anybody with any small detail even to come forward and tell the police what you know. It could be the smallest piece to the puzzle.
Even if you think it's nothing, it is something. I promise you, it's something. Because right now we have nothing.
Kara Denise Northington, thank you for being with us. I think, you know, maybe we can talk again as we all plod through this investigation and the developments. But I'll repeat it. I do wish you peace and serenity in this very difficult time.
Thank you. I appreciate that.